Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the finance meeting. It is June 1st, so happy June. Happy June, everyone. Summer's around the corner. I'd ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And how about Councilmember Figueroa lead us in the pledge? To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd also like to congratulate Councilmember Figueroa on your new business. That's a huge, huge, huge step. Congratulations. And you're in Troy. So we'll be down after this for dinner. Are you open?
Better than Troy. He's in Little Italy.
I know. There you go. There you go. Puerto Rican, Little Italy. I love it. I love it.
Get to experience the 5-4 handoff.
All right, we're going to do roll call. Councilmember Gully. Here. Councilmember Figueroa. Councilmember Steele. Councilmember Men.
Here.
Councilmember Conley Wilson.
Present.
Councilmember Soriento.
Here.
Council President Mantello is here. We have 7 present, 0 absent. We only have a few items for finance. You'll see the neighborhood improvement project funds. We have 1 additional project that came in right at the deadline. So there was a miscommunication. The committee, Councilmember Steele and others recommend funding it. It's a great project. We'll talk about that. Regarding the funding on that, Councilmember Steele, the clerk, Maria, states we should have enough money that's left over. So we'll hold off asking the CRC at this point, but if we need to, we may need to. Then we have a new ordinance, which we'll talk about, and I asked Carlos Soriento to join us on blasting and explosives and chipping. And then lastly, we have a resolution to hire Realty for a property I'm calling out. So pretty simple. We'll open it up for the public forum. Would anyone like to speak on any item on the agenda? Okay. Would you like to speak on the blasting or? Okay, come on up. Thank you.
I was just going through the proposed changes to the ordinance and I'm not all the way through them yet.
Not a problem.
There's a
If
couple
you
hundred
need
pages.
time, honestly, because you just got a copy of it, it was online, but if you need time,
Yeah. if I can get 10
this
minutes,
is finance and you'll have
I only
time.
need 10 minutes. if that's fine.
Okay. Take your time
Yeah.
and at the regular meeting, you'll have an opportunity.
Like I
to
said, I need
speak
10
on.
minutes if that's all right.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Okay, anyone else like to speak on any item on the agenda? Okay, we're going to close the public forum and we'll go to ordinance 45. Bear with me, ordinance 45. Ordinance authorizing additional award of neighborhood improvement project funds. Council President Mantello, Council Member Steele should be on this also. Do I have a motion? Motion, Councilmember Conley Wilson. Is there a second? Second, Councilmember Steele. Discussion. Yes, Councilmember Conley Wilson.
I'm glad that this made it to the agenda. I think this is like a really great resource that we have in the city. It's a beautiful park and, the Friends of Post and Kill Gorge have done a lot of work to improve that area and work with the city to make, improvements that, they're not able to make. So I think this is a really great investment in the project that we should support. So I'm happy to see this on the agenda.
Yeah, I totally echo your comments. The Post and Kill Gorge is one of our hidden gems. It's come a long way. And our partners, our volunteer groups have really stepped up to the plate to really try to connect that with Burden Pond, ultimately connecting to the Hudson River, and ultimately having trails all throughout the city. So Post and Kill Gorge is just absolutely gorgeous. And if folks out there haven't been there, pay a visit. It's really, really beautiful and tranquil. But don't jump in.
don't think we.
We have a lot of firefighters who have had to save people there. We have a motion. We have a second. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance 45 carries 7-0. Ordinance 46, an ordinance adding Chapter 140 entitled Blasting, Rock Chipping, and Use of Explosives to the Code of the City of Troy to regulate such activities in the city. Council President Mantello, is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Councilmember Conley Wilson. Is there a second? Second, Councilmember Gully. We can talk about this really in depth at the regular meeting. But I was really surprised. I'll take a step back. So there's a development happening on Cemetery Road, Gurley Avenue. Neighbors were kind of caught off guard about the development, but Stevie Mann, the developer, is here with us this evening. He has really tried to meet with the neighborhood, talk to the residents, and reached out to the residents. Unfortunately, the residents had thought when the pilot died last year that the project died. It didn't, and somehow transferred to a new developer. Long story short, people saw trees coming down, and then we're kind of like, what's going on here? A development's happening. The development's moving forward. However, Steve Strikeman contacted the council and residents about 2 weeks ago. As they were drilling, they realized that for them to continue moving forward with the project, it would take like 4 or 5 weeks of drilling as opposed to 1 or 2 days or 3 days of blasting. So needless to say, there was a meeting on site regarding the blasting and what's happening, and the developer with another contractor really went through the process, and folks had questions. I would say probably a dozen or so residents from Lori Jean and the neighborhood impacting by this attended the meeting. It was well attended. Councilmember Gully and I were there. And Andrea happens to live on Lori Jean also, so she was present. So fast forward, I had thought in the code that we had a process for blasting. Shockingly to me, we don't. So there were no guidelines for folks like the developer who's here with us tonight or future developers. The residents are, they're concerned about the impact that this is going to have on their property, the blasting, but also the city should be concerned in terms of our infrastructure. And somebody mentioned to me, and I don't know if this is true or not, but Campbell Ave, years later, after blasting, it was found that the roadway was fractured due to that blasting. I don't know how true that is. It could be a rumor, whatever. But saying that, this ordinance is not to put super onerous guidelines, regulations on the developer, but it's to give the developer guidelines. It's to give the developer, okay, this is our process for blasting. We don't have one. So needless to say, I did some research. I found this ordinance, the town of Greenberg, which is in Westchester County. They didn't have an ordinance. They, researched this at length. And needless to say, this has been adopted not just in Greenberg, but a couple other municipalities. I did ask the developer to take a look at this. I'm looking honestly for balance here. I'm looking to protect the city. Most importantly, protect obviously the residents that, may be impacted by this. And, it might not happen right away. It may happen a year or two later. There's guidelines, there's regulations in terms of surveys, things to that nature. So it spells it out. I did have Rick take a look at it. So saying that, I was going to wait to talk about, but Carlo is with us, and I would ask Carlo if you don't mind chiming in real quick and just talk about the process, talk about this ordinance, how you feel it not only benefits the city, benefits our residents at the same time, provides guidelines, provides regs to not only this development, but more importantly, future developments.
Yes, can you hear me?
We sure can. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, President Mantello. Yeah, so the thing is since I've worked for the city, we've had 4 blasting sites, and with the, under the supervision with the actual city engineer, because I'm more of, I do the engineering review for the building department, but getting to learn from him, the contractor, what he did do is within a 500-foot radius, they do a survey of all the properties. They do a public meeting, which I believe happened. I don't know if it happened or not, but that's one of the things that should happen, to let all the residents know, because you're gonna feel a little bit of seismic activity. And the other thing is I believe that someone from the city, usually it was a city engineer, unfortunately we don't have one right now, that would survey the streets, the sidewalks, the infrastructure, and those type of things, to make sure that, down the line, if there's a crack in a road, or a water main breaks, or, a sidewalk's crack or something like that from the blasting, that's something that, we should have them, be held responsible for. I'm open to any questions. When that happened, it was one of those, it went on for 3-4 weeks. This one, I believe, is going to go on for a week or so. When I saw the time frame, but do you have any questions on my end, or?
Why don't we, if you don't mind, we'll hold off on Carlo. And now that you have had an opportunity, that'd be great. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I lost you for a second.
Carlo, it's okay. If you could state your name and address, Carlo, if you could mute, the developer that you actually have the permit for is here tonight. You might see his back now, but he's with us, and his partner, and I believe his sister, who's also part of the business. Okay, so if you could, perfect. Thank you.
So the biggest thing is a lot of
If
this.
you could just state your name
I'm
and-
Zach Doro
and your company.
at Blue Iron Development. Gurley Property LLC is the project. So my biggest thing here is a lot of this came to fruition because of the neighbors. There's a couple things. The logistics of how blasting works, not a lot of people understand, and some of this, what you guys talked about previously, and I did a bunch of research and hired a geologist, et cetera. To hold somebody liable for damage years down the road from blasting is not accurate. That's not how blasting works. If there's not damage in a short time period afterwards, it's not from the blasting. As the geologist said, we were there, the earth isn't a battery. It doesn't store energy, and then, stuff gets destroyed later. So it is something where you would want to, which we did do, inspect the area, take a call of anything that's there, and, compare it to afterwards. But to say that you would need somebody to be held liable for a road a couple of years down the road, I understand, I didn't necessarily know this a couple of weeks ago either, but it's not really applicable in these type of situations. Any damage is going to be, right thereafter. The guy who we hired had been a geologist who worked for blasting companies for 35 years, and he's had 4 instances that, they do this all the time. He's had 4 instances over the course of his entire career where there was any damage, and it was always minor every single time. So it's a really uncommon thing. You said you had 4 blasting cases in Troy in the recent couple of years. I understand that there should be guidelines, but there is guidelines. So to do this, you have to have a license to do this. The company that we hire, it isn't just somebody, you know, that's a pyro and has some dynamite. They're a licensed, you know, person that this is their entire business, is what they do. They have state and federal guidelines that they have to follow in order to do this safely. So putting protocols in place is great, but all these protocols are already in place. You can't do that. I couldn't just get a permit for blasting and go do it myself, find some, you know, dynamite and start blowing stuff apart. I mean, it's very strict, especially with the, you know, the way the world is these days, and explosives in general. It's not like it's an easy thing to even get. They're very safe. It's very redundant how safe they are, actually. I mean, we've blasted on a couple sites before, and it is probably the most underwhelming thing you've ever experienced. You almost don't hear it. There's a couple warnings. They spend a lot of time making sure there's nobody in, you know, a very, very long, safe distance away from this thing. I think some of the things that you're asking people to do in here, just by me breezing through it as quick as I could, are things that, you know, we kind of have to do anyways, which is, you know, whatever. But, you know, and then there's some of this stuff where I don't necessarily understand the blasting supervisors. That's something that you guys are trying to put in place where you guys would monitor it.
What we will change, I actually have to propose an amendment. We don't have a blasting inspector, so it would be the engineering department and or
Well, the
outside
blasting company, they have an inspector on staff the entire time. I mean, someone to get licensed in this is not something that's easy to do. So you're probably not going to easily be able to find somebody to hire to do that. We actually have to hire a company that has one on staff, or else they're not even going to be able to do it anyway. So
Right. There's a couple of spots in here though, where it talks about the city side. So that would be amended to be the engineering department and or the outside engineer.
yeah, I mean, my biggest thing with this is a lot of this stuff isn't necessarily a big deal. I've had an application in for weeks, and I have went above and beyond, as I always do, with making sure that I'm not doing something that the community doesn't want me to do. They don't want me to build these apartments, but unfortunately, I'm too far into this thing to stop now.
This is not
No,
about.
and I
stopping
understand.
your
I'm not going there, but as far as the community is concerned, they don't want me to not blast, because if you make this hard for me to blast, I don't need to get a permit to go blast. I can jackhammer rock for 8 weeks and shake everyone's house. I mean,
We
that's
talked
the
about
option.
that, right? We talked about that on site. This
you know.
is more to provide, when
Sure.
I found out we didn't have a
Understood.
process or
And
whatever.
I completely
Like
am
you
on board
said,
with you doing
the-
the right thing for future cases. My thing is, the GM of my company, I'm nowhere near an engineer, but the GM of my company is a civil engineer. I make sure that if I don't know how to do something, I hire somebody who does. I don't pretend to fly airplanes. You know, I get on an airplane and have someone else do it. So in this scenario, we've done everything that we could possibly do. If what we're talking about is me starting from the beginning of this thing with my application, I mean, we had a public forum. We answered all the questions we could. We hired a geologist. We did all this stuff. I think that I should be getting my blasting permit. I think Carlo would agree that Jim Kerr, who runs my company, he wouldn't blast unless it was, you know, the absolute best thing that needed to have happen. I mean, this is for the community. This is ROI negative for me
I
and my
get it,
company.
Zach.
I
Yep,
can
I get
save
it.
money by not blasting. I'm trying to
Nobody's
do.
saying that.
No, I know, I
okay?
understand that.
And
I'm-
we're not negotiating. So if you could
No,
wrap
I
it up. that'd
Well,
be
I'm trying to
helpful.
understand what in this is something that I haven't already done. Like I
Right,
I
you
breathe.
tell me. I'm.
Well, no, I breezed through it. I
Yes.
breezed through it quickly. I mean, you wrote it. So as far as the project's concerned, I do believe I should be getting a permit based off of everything here. Am I
Okay.
missing any? Is there any?
We appreciate your feedback.
That was a question.
Councilmember Gully.
I just want you to know, this is not about what you've done. 'Cause
No, I
we
understand.
looked at your work and we
No, I
understand the
understand.
steps that you took. This
And I'm
is
not
about-
fighting this. I'm asking a general question. Is there stuff on here that I haven't done yet that I need to do? Just because I haven't had a lot of time to
When you
digest.
read that, you'll know, because you know what
Right.
you've done, you know what's on that paper.
Right.
While we don't know what you've done, we only know what you tell us. So whatever
Right.
you've done, you look at that paper, you can make a result, figure out what you haven't done, and you know that's what you need to do
Right.
if this passes. But this is really not about your project.
Right.
This is about creating,
And Carla
Excuse-
wants to speak. I
this
apologize.
is about creating a guideline for people, developers, anybody who wants to come into Troy and use blasting equipment
Understood.
or do blasting. It's nothing to do with your project or any
Mm.
specific project, but
Understood.
we realized that we didn't have anything
Understood.
to protect the residents.
And I get
when
that.
this comes up. And this is like, this was an aha moment, and it wasn't for you, we would never have even
Understood.
have thought about this until the next incident or something bad could happen. So what you've done is help the city, because now you've engaged us and enlightened us to bring things forward that can help the next developer not to have a problem or not to do something damaging to a neighborhood
Yeah,
through the process. So as for what you've done,
yeah, not,
we've looked at your work. I heard your conversation. You guys seem like you're very straight up on your focus and what you do for your.
absolutely,
And I'll be glad to see your finished product. To see if it upholds to all the words I hear.
understood.
But I will tell you that this has nothing to do with your project.
Right.
This has everything to do with every developer coming into our city.
As it pertains to this and not my project, the one thing that I did breeze through that I do think is something that might become a somewhat of a problem is I do think that the documenting which we did and having it on file and maybe the city of Troy having a copy of it if something does happen, I don't think distributing a copy of this to every person who comes and wants one is a good idea. I think that if something comes up and like, hey, we do think we've had a problem potentially from this, you guys have a copy of it and you guys could disperse it as such. I don't think sending a copy to everyone in the area is a good use of money or, DVDs. or
What
whatever.
section was that? Zach?
There's an area in here that says we need to document everything and then share all the surveys with anyone in a 500-foot radius. I think that's something that the city of Troy should have on file in case there is something that comes up. I don't think that's something that should be, it would be a part of the city of Troy. Anyone could come and get it if they needed it. It's a foil. I mean, it's public record, but I don't think we should disperse it to the
Right.
actual
John,
people.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Maybe we can
We can amend.
do an amendment.
Yeah.
To say that it would be available
Available, yeah.
to any residents with 500. at
I
their
mean,
request.
today and age, you could put it on a website and they can get a link or something. That would be an easy way of doing things.
Do you know what exact section
but
in?
I don't.
Okay, I'll look for it,
Sure.
maybe, all right.
And then the other thing, as far as the inspector and the full-time inspector, I
Yeah.
think that that's something that you guys should just maybe say, it's state and federal law that there needs to be a qualified non-working inspector, which is it says in here that we would have to pay you guys for it and keep money in there. That's already something that's included in the cost when you blast. So
Right.
I would just say you have to have one,
Mhm.
so you guys aren't out
Yeah.
looking to hire
Right.
engineers and blasting supervisors. So it's required that you have one,
It's a good point.
which is
That's-
state and
yeah,
federal requirements anyway.
perfect.
All right.
That's
I-
good.
That's all I got. Unless someone has any
Awesome.
questions.
Zach, thank you.
right.
Carlo does
He has a
want
question.
to chime in. Go ahead, Carlo. Carlo.
Hear me? Can you hear
Hi.
me?
Yes.
Okay. So yes, he's absolutely correct. So with Jim Kerr's been great throughout the process of working with me, his engineer. The only thing that I requested was that the city, so I know that they have a blasting inspector, and trust me, the blasting, I've met the guys that have done it before. They're certified. It's something that the state requires. I just always believe that someone that's in charge of the infrastructure, which in our ordinance, in our city charter states that the city engineer should be there. Someone from the engineering department or a city engineer, other than the building department, because we do buildings, should be on site. And not just for the purpose of because they have seismometers, they have their own inspectors there. It's just in case something goes wrong, something happens. We don't want to put a firefighter on a job site. We don't want to put a cop there, if we don't need to. It should just, we need to somehow on their job. The one thing that I'm trying to get through is that because we don't have a city engineer, is that we should get our consulting engineer to just survey the road, survey the sidewalks within 500 feet at the time. I'm not talking something that happens down the road because I know that's what was just stated. I'm just talking about at the time that we don't have any problems or anything. We need the city needs to inspect it. They need to be there. And unfortunately, right now, we're just functioning as a building department, which is foundation up and all the little permits that come through. But we don't have an infrastructure engineer, and that's what we should have there. They should be there. They should know about the blasting protocols, and they should be just on site with Jim Kerr and the other inspectors and basically, just make sure that nothing needs to be done at the time or something needs to be stopped for, a moment or two, or, something needs to be
Right.
inspected.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
That would come right out of our engineering department.
Is there
right.
any about that, or?
Say
I,
that again, Carla.
I didn't know if anybody had any questions.
Did
I
you?
agree with Carlo. There should be
Yeah.
somebody on staff that's looking for the time that they would have to spend there to stay there for the whole process of blasting might be a little redundant just because of, how sporadic it is, because there is a lot of drilling. You get to certain spots and you
Yeah.
get through them quicker and whatnot. And
Yeah.
it would be the blasting specialist would have to spend some time to really stick to a schedule. They can get it done a lot faster, which is better for everybody
Right.
if they're able to just breeze through it and use their own protocols. I think that Carl's very right. You should have somebody independently that has a horse in the race, go inspect your infrastructure beforehand, and then the day after, really everything will be, whatever's going to happen will have happened the day after. I think that just to make sure that nothing, because that'll be a tell. So
Yeah.
if you go there the day before they blast and then the day after and it doesn't look the same, then it was because of the blasting.
Right.
And I think he's correct with that. I don't know that should be a cost to the developer. I think that someone even, Carlo is very busy at the moment, but he's even, he's very sharp. He's qualified. Somebody like him is qualified to inspect that, because a lot of what you're looking at is just visual. You're not going to be able to do any type of real tests on infrastructure. Yeah. The head of your highway department or whatever could do a drive through and spend an hour recording it and looking at the key spots. I mean, Carlo will know exactly where things could go wrong. If there's, a sewer structure here or a water main there, et cetera. Anybody who's qualified that works for the city. It would be nice to push off onto an engineer. You start getting engineers to sign letters saying that stuff was this and now it's this. They don't want to do it unless you pay them a big dollar. Maybe if they worked for the city of Troy, that would be a little bit different. But if they're an independent firm to come in to certify that it was not like this before and now it is, would be a large bill. But I do think you guys probably already staffed people that are very qualified. I know Carlo is, but I want to sign him up for it because he's very busy.
We're a little slim. We're a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
slim right now. And hence this also, that motivated me also knowing how slim our
Understood.
department.
I mean, with all this being said, I don't disagree with them. I haven't really digested all of it, so there might be
Right.
something I don't agree with, but
And that's why
So-
this had not, it
Yeah, no,
wasn't
understood.
so much about you. It was like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, like we literally have
Understood.
nothing on the books.
understood.
And so-
But selfishly, I do
I
have a
get it.
business that has employees, and if
I
I can't
get
get
it.
started, they're gonna say,
I get
"Oh,
it.
that's not good for anybody."
And
either."
we're not looking to stall.
Understood.
And I honestly don't think this would. And Carlo, I asked him,
Carlos been
You
awesome.
know,
Yes. He has his plate full, and I'm gonna try. I
Yeah.
told Jim to, even after I met it with him, I'm like, you might want to back off a little bit because I don't want him to quit because he's got so
Yeah.
much stuff going on. He's probably could use two of them.
well, Zach, we really appreciate your
I appreciate
feedback.
it as
Thank you.
well.
Thank you.
Yep.
We're gonna get this rolling, but at the same time, I do feel it's important that the city obviously has guidelines, that the city, is to a certain extent, obviously is covered, the residents, et cetera, and something in writing. Rick, do you mind real quick, based on this feedback, one of the big things I think that needs to be amended is instead of blasting inspector, it should say city engineer or engineering department.
Okay, if you look at the definitional section,
Yes,
the town of Greenberg ordinance referred everything to a building inspector.
yes,
We don't have a building inspector, we have an examiner of plans. So I kind of made up the
Yeah.
term blasting inspector. I did not realize that might be a term of art for someone who actually
I
does this
didn't
work.
either. Yeah,
However, it was meant to more to describe the function. So if you look at the definitions, the blasting inspector is, I believe, assigned
it's perfect.
by the
Yes.
engineering department, and the engineer and the blasting inspector share the authority to enforce and administer that provision. Okay,
That's perfect.
so
Thank
I
you.
don't look at blasting inspector as a title
Yep.
of a job so much because we have so few blasting incidents in the city, but just as an occasional function that someone, the engineer himself or him or herself could perform, or whoever is assigned.
Thank you. And I appreciate that definition. I'm
Okay.
so sorry I didn't catch that.
And the other thing, I mean, I did adapt it the best I could to Troy without really being completely familiar with the subject matter, but I would ask that you give it an opportunity to work first before we amend it. I mean, just
Yeah,
before we
Yep.
change things, you know, see
Yeah.
what works and what
kind of
doesn't.
like the zoning.
And the one thing that is missing in that order, was missing in the town of Greenberg, I know Carlo likes this very much, is there's no public meeting provision.
Right.
So that wasn't in the original ordinance. And I didn't know
notice.
whether or not how we wanted that to work, or whether we needed a public meeting or not, I guess. So, so that could be for the
yes.
future. too.
Yep.
But there is public notification.
I saw
Everyone
that.
within 500.
And Rick, I really appreciate you working with me on this. I appreciate all of your help.
Okay.
Thank you.
Council President.
Thank you. Councilmember Conley Wilson, then Councilmember.
I was just curious, because this follows so closely with the state and federal regulations, if there's anything in here I didn't notice, if those regulations change, do we have to go back and amend this ordinance, or do we have something in there to say, you know, if the state regulation changes, we'll follow that?
I don't think it's in there.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I did check some of the CFR, and I found that some of the references in the Greenberg ordinance did not match the current CFR, so I changed them a little bit
Great.
to, so it's not perfect, all right,
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
I think the intent is that, you know, we would follow when federal regulations, if they move them around, which they seem to do every 6 months
Yeah.
or so.
Yeah. Yep.
Then we would follow
Yeah,
that.
I would really
Yeah.
feel more comfortable voting yes on this if we include that. Just to see
Okay,
if
we
there's-
can put a sentence in.
I just don't want us to be
Yeah.
like out of compliance or.
Yeah.
Folks, I mean,
We could put,
Well, I mean, the only
don't have
actual.
to be compliance with federal and
We
state.
have to, yes,
Yeah.
they take precedence, I believe.
All right,
I thought I had language in that that said
Yeah, I just
they would be interpreted consistently with state and federal law.
oh, here it is. Where the manufacturer is subject to state and federal regulation, licensing, blah, blah, blah.
what section is that?
That is 140-5, but that's on the permit. 140-5, number 4, B4. So that has, Secretary of State is in B1. Secretary of State, bloop, bloop, bloop. Oh, here we go. If you look at, page 9 and look at, I just saw it, bear with me. Where did I see it? Bloop, bloop, bloop. I just saw it. I think it's F.
Yeah. it looks like
Here it is. Yep, you'll see the last agrees to abide by all applicable state and federal safety
that.
standards.
I just wanted to make sure. that
No,
that was
that's good. That's
part of
good.
this.
I don't know how I
Go back
found
every
that
month.
in all this, but
I knew there was something in there.
thank you, Rick. Hold on one sec, Councilmember Min.
Yeah.
Oh, are you all set?
Yes.
Great.
And I think, like having something that's clear and easily accessible to having a policy that is clear and accessible to people who are bringing projects to the planning board is really important. And also blasting offers some advantages to pile driving or ripping and I certainly know that as more people work from home, it's better to have one day or several hours disrupted than several weeks. That certainly was the case. Taylor apartment was coming down, and I know when Impact was built, dropping it down out of the down to bedrock, and that can also bring the prices of a project to a more predictable level, which can be a make it or break it for building additional housing or other really important buildings in the city of Troy. So it's good. It's good that we have, clarity is really important.
Thank you. Yes. All right. If we're all good, if we could take a vote, we'll do slow roll if you don't mind, just so we know where we all are. Councilmember Gold.
Yes.
Councilmember Figueroa.
Yes.
Councilmember Steele.
Aye.
Councilmember Min.
Yes.
Councilmember Conley Wilson.
Aye.
Councilmember Soriento.
Yes.
Council President Mantello, aye. 7-0, it'll go to the regular. And I really appreciate all your feedback, Zach. We're gonna work with you. I promise. This is not to make it onerous, more onerous. It's already onerous, probably. So, thank you. And hopefully residents are watching. I think we had a good conversation on that. Resolution 57, resolution authorizing the mayor to execute real estate brokerage and agency agreement with Hill Realty Incorporated for the marketing and sale of various parcels of surplus real property owned by the city. Council President Mantello, at the request of the administration, is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Councilmember Min, is there a second? Second, Councilmember Gully, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 57 carries 7-0. All items will go to the regular meeting. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. We have one
58.
more item. No motion. We do have, I am going to ask the council to add, it's on your desk, Resolution 58, resolution supporting Senator Schumer's call for an increase in the Medicare wage index for the Capital Region hospitals. And we could talk about the regular if you'd like. Councilmember Steele. First, we're going to take a vote. Yep. So I'm going to ask for a motion to add this. We need unanimous consent. Somebody says no, it gets defeated. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Councilmember Conley Wilson. Is there a second? Second, Councilmember Gully. On the motion to add it, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? It is now added to Finance, Resolution 58, resolution supporting Senator Schumer's call for an increase in the Medicare wage index for Capital Region hospitals. Councilmember Steele's the sponsor. I'd like to co-sponsor, and potentially all of us may want to co-sponsor this. And Councilmember Steele, if you want to give a quick blurb or wait till the regular, totally up to you. Awesome. Further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Call that vote.
Resolution 58 carries 7-0 to go to the regular meeting. Okay, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion, Councilmember Soriento, second, Councilmember Gully, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? We will now go right into the regular meeting. So folks could come in. Hello, Kevin, everyone. Woo! Thank you. Grab a seat. What do they say? Kappa squat? Right? Is that appropriate?
No. We may need more chairs.
This is awesome. Look at this. Woo! The guest of honor, come on up. Lots of chairs. What a great turnout. Oh, wow. Can you not see us? This is awesome. All right. Well, we're going to start the regular meeting, but before we start, let's say thank you. Hello. Congratulations to Kevin Pompey, inducted in the New York State Hall of Fame. Woo! And Kevin, we'll get right to you. We have to get into the regular meeting first. So I would ask everyone to please stand again for the Pledge of Allegiance. And Kevin Pryor, come on, I'm leaving it to you. You can do this. Can you please lead us in the pledge? You got this.
Check. Check. Pledge allegiance to the flag the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, and the liberty and justice for all. I just need the help. Thank you.
Good, you did good. Roll call, Maria. Thank you. And then.
Yep.
Councilmember Gully,
I want to say present this time.
Councilmember Figueroa, Councilmember Steele,
Present.
Councilmember Men,
Present.
Councilmember Conley Wilson,
Present.
Councilmember Soriento,
Here.
Council President Mantello,
I'm still here.
all are present.
All are present. Very
present.
quickly, if I could have a motion to approve the minutes from the regular meeting of May.
Motion.
Motion, Councilmember Gully. Is there a second? Second, Councilmember Steele. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, let's get to the good news.
Celebrate success. I love it.
Yes. And there, all right. Okay.
Hey, we're thanking you.
Oh, yeah, where are we, Shane?
All right.
Where are we?
Not down on the floor.
I know. You should know there's some feedback sometimes from this, and believe me, you'll want to run. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's get Kevin Pompey up here. Kevin Pompey. I would ask for his family, his friends, please come up. Please, come on up. Come on up, please, please. Please come up. We don't care how many. This is all about Kevin Pompey. And we're declaring June 1st, Kevin Pompey dead. So, ladies and gentlemen, I have to say, when I was a kid growing up, you should know my dad, Jimmy Mantello, was very, very, very fond of you. So this evening, I was on my way out the door and I said to my husband, I said, so, you know, we're honoring Kevin Pompey. My husband never wants to watch YouTube in terms of council meetings. He wants nothing to do with politics. Tonight, are you on YouTube tonight? I said, absolutely. So saying that, but he did say that he actually saw you in person twice. And he said you had the fastest hands he's ever seen.
Yes.
Okay. All right, can you show us a little bit of the hands? Come on, Kevin. Well, listen, when Jada was here, Jada and I had a little boxing match. So, yes, yeah. Well, this is what we want to hear. You don't want to hear from me. So this is all about you. We want to hear your stories about Kevin Pompey, and that's what this is about. But I just wanted to say, Mr. Excitement I'm hearing, okay, was that in boxing or in every facet of life? All right, let's go around the room. And ladies and gentlemen, you should know when I posted this, I said, tonight, we're going to recognize Kevin Pompey. Well, lo and behold, I tagged Kevin Pryor and Kevin Pompey. Everybody's like, congratulations, Kevin Pryor. Finally, Kevin got on and said, I'm not going into the Hall of Fame. Take it away, please. Tell us, no, tell us. We'll hold it.
What you want me to tell?
And this was from Kevin, right?
Yeah, I was running, I fell.
So
So
tell us the story.
I can tell you one story real quick. So we went to the Boxing Hall of Fame with Sammy Bunch in the next boxing program. So Kevin was on the trip with us because he's part of Troy Look in the Speak Out program. So he teaches our kids fundamentals of boxing in the anti-bullying prevention program. So we get up there and he's not in the Hall of Fame yet. This is what, last year, 2 years? So we get off the bus and the guy that was going to show us around, he said, oh my God, Kevin Pompey. So he's not even in the Hall of Fame yet. But he told me Kevin was known for having one of the best fights in the boxing history. He said, you will be here soon. Look how God works. Look how God works. So that's the only story I can tell you. Family can tell you more because, listen, I didn't even like boxing. When I was boxing, I boxed, a couple of days at the Boys Club. They were playing basketball. I went upstairs. It was too much work for me, but you have your sisters and, they can tell you more if you want to.
You have to introduce yourself.
My name is Abby, and I'm Kevin's sister and only sister. I can honestly tell you that my mother did not want him to do this. She definitely fought it all the time. Yeah, he was only a champ in the ring, not in the house. Yeah, so I take that back. I'm only teasing, but yeah, she didn't want him to do it, but he was persistent, and look where he is now. He's inducted. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, she talked to Dad. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Well, I have 3 brothers and that was beautiful. Okay, now tell us the story. We'll go right around. Never.
I don't have a big story.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't have a story, no.
Okay.
Well,
You can still-
oh, well, I'm just a longtime friend of Kevin for forever. Yes, high school, long time. And even when he was, it was scary. I'm gonna be honest, because I went to several boxing events, and knowing the person and watching them fight is 2 different things. So for me, it was just very emotional and all that kind of stuff, but he was good at it. So I guess, look how good he was. Oh, so Jeffy.
Brother, you gotta tell a story.
Tell a story about
Introduce
Kevin?
yourself. Yeah.
Okay. You think I'm gonna say something crazy? But the thing is, my name is John Pompey, Kevin's older brother. And
Thank you.
I'm very proud of you, bro. Very proud. You did your thing. You brought your kids up. You did the same thing I did. But Kev, I'm very proud of you, bro. I love you. My sister Abby. It's all about you. I know that. My brother Alan. Everybody that's in here. My brother Alan. Yo, Dennis, where you at, Dennis? Love you, bro. My nephew, bro. The thing is, but the most thing, Kevin, is yo, bro. I'm proud of you. You always look after me. Always look after you and everybody else, man. And I'm about to have some tears coming by. Yo, man. Love you, man. And my beautiful cousin ring.
And how about we thank you for your service? How about that? Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I am Lorraine. I'm Kevin's first cousin. And all I have to say, cuz, is I am very proud of you. And you are our GOAT, G-O-A-T, the greatest of all time. And our era and our area. I love you, Kevin.
This is Ted from Pepsi. No.
Well, I really don't know what to say. When I start following Kevin with boxing, like KP said, I fell in love with him, and I had a chance to work with him and do things with him, see the insides and the outsides. But it was great, and we had a good time. Thank you.
Beautiful. Who's next?
Who's next? All right, just real quick. Listen, microphone check. No. So let me tell you a real quick story about Kevin at school too. And this is what Kevin tells me, because Kevin he used to be the guard at school too, where we have our program at. And then, he's from the Kings. He's from the Kings. So we should be applauding that because he made it out of the Kings. Look where he is. Just to let people know, no matter where you're from, do hard work, you can make it. But me and Kevin had a conversation at school too one day when one of the kid's parents said the kid was going to tell his parent about you disciplining. And the parent was supposed to come up and he was supposed to see Kevin. So when he came up to see Kevin, his whole attitude changed. Oh, it's Kevin Pompey. My son didn't tell me it was Kevin Pompey. So those are the things that, you know, what we talk about when we at the school, when he does, you know, because he loves the kids when you work with them. But so many people know Kevin, and so many people just want to be around Kevin because, you know, jack squats real quick. Let's go. So one of his main focus when we're in the program. Tell the story, Kevin. Come on, please, about the jack squats, please. Let me hold this. Let me. Please.
Story, Dad.
When you went to Italy. When you went to Italy.
Uh,
Okay, this is what he tell our kids. If we have one of the kids here, so this is what Kevin does in our program, real quick. So we're in our anti-bullying prevention boxing program because it's boxing because Kevin, we utilize one of the boxers, pro boxers from our neighborhood to teach our kids basic fundamentals of boxing. So Kevin will come in and say, all right, we're gonna do jack squats, and I'm gonna tell you why. He said, so when I was in Italy, and it could be Italy today. Look, he's out. It could be Italy today. It could be France tomorrow. But he said, we're in Italy. So when I was in Italy, I didn't know the area. So he tells a story. Every kid in the program knows his story. So he goes, so I had to work out in my room. So I'm doing jack squats. You guys all know what, you want to demonstrate? So you guys all know what jack squats are, right? He does jack squats in his room for a whole hour. So tell me, the maid comes in. What she said, Kev, when the maid comes in?
She wanted to give me some water. She wanted to dry me off.
She wanted to know what was wrong with him. He said she came in. So I know the story because he tells it. He's been telling it for 3 years in our program. So the maid goes, oh my God, what's wrong with you? He said, oh, I'm a boxer. I'm here to fight. I don't know the area, so I work out in my room. And she said, oh. He said, but I do jack squats for an hour a day to get ready for the fight. In that fight, you came in what place? It was a draw, right? It was a draw. And he just to say this, as long as you work hard, no matter where, look what can happen. And he did jack squats in his room. Thank you, Kevin. I love you to death. Don't shake too hard.
All right, you want to,
Yeah.
okay, and then I want to hit over here.
Yeah, microphone check. No. I remember one time Kevin called me because he ain't had nobody sparring in the gym. So I'm saying to myself, I don't want to go. But I go down there, right? So I go to the gym, we exercise for a little bit, stressed out. Just 3 rounds. This man right here was just hit me here and here and here. First round. I said to myself, no, I can't let my younger brother do this to me. The second round, I was trying. He grabbed me by the arm. Yo, Johnny, man, you don't try to kill me, man. He was just hitting me all over. But yo, yeah, love you, bro. Love you.
I forgot about that story, man.
See? A lot of stories. Okay, come on.
Huh? Yeah. Well, my name is Dennis. I'm the youngest. I'm his youngest brother. Dennis. I look up to all these guys, all my brothers. I just know that I love you, Kevin. I look up to I look up to you, Ken, Johnny, all of them. I wouldn't be where I'm at, if I didn't look up to you. I mean, to follow you guys. You guys are my heroes, especially you, Abby. I love you.
Hello, I'm Elijah.
Definitely.
Huh? Yes, my camera. Yeah. I'm Elijah. I'm sorry, I ain't did to go up this quick. Someone come here. Well, how do I start?
Nah, I mean, since I was little, I knew my dad was special. So it's always my whole life. I knew I ain't have a regular father. You know, I knew he was someone to look up to throughout the whole community growing up. And there's nothing you could ever say bad about my dad. You know, we all go through life and we go through things, and I went through a lot growing up, but it's life. You know, you got to go through certain things to get to how you're supposed to be when you grow up. You know, I never thought I would be in the position I am now. And my dad supported me throughout everything I always wanted to do. It don't matter if it was high or low, he supported me. You could do it. You just work, do it. You know, so all it is, you just gotta work. And he showed me that my whole life. Hard work, dedication, training, whatever it takes to get to where you want to go. You just gotta believe in yourself and do what you want to do. You know, I'm very happy to call this man my father, and to go. I don't know. You know, and sometimes I don't really have words to explain it. You guys went the Hall of Fame then. I had the right words at the right time. But yeah, I love my father. I love my family. I love you guys. So you guys support. I love you guys so much. So thank you.
Beautiful. Oh. Oh, you're not going anywhere, Kev. Kev, you're not going anywhere. Oh, come on.
So hello. So I'm Norris. I used to be Kevin's little cousin, right? At one point. You want to talk about growing up? So KP said Kevin's from the Kings. We're not claiming the Kings. We're claiming the Herd Apartments, right? Right. The Herd Lincolns, right? That's what we're claiming, right? Right here in the heart of Troy, right? That's what it is. He tell you. So I mean, everybody knows, right? We're here for a purpose, and we know who Kev is. But I got a chance to watch Kev do so many things. As far as I am his little cousin, I will always consider that be that, even though in stature I'm not, right? But from getting in trouble and from playing games, we made downtown Troy our home. We would go up in where Prospect Park is, but there's a hill. I don't even know what we called it, but from playing war games to having forts and just running, going to the pool up in Prospect Park, berry picking, to playing football in the sandlot, playing baseball in the sandlot. Kev's an athlete, right? Obviously, right? So he's getting this award for boxing, but Kev's an athlete. He'll try anything. Just to having relay races on a hot summer night, everyone's sitting around, and Kevin Ken, fast dudes, man. And I mean, if anybody saw Kevin run, his head would just go back and his arms would be just flying. And, you know, he was just that guy. And it's talking about humble, one of the most humble, loving. If he has it, he'll give it to you. Always with that smile. I've seen Kevin angry. You don't want to really see Kev angry, right? I see Kev do some stuff, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh. But I would go to Kev. I'll tell you right now, I probably think I'll fight a lot of people before I fight Kevin, who was much smaller than me. Because actually, he used to beat on me when we were little. So in between him and Kid doing karate, right? It was something to see, something to have fun with. So when you talk about memories, I have great memories of my cousin Kev. Man. Kev, I love you too. Love you.
That was so nice. Thank you for sharing, Kevin, with us. Absolutely.
This is real quick, Kev. Not only to you, but to your brothers and your sister. I am so glad that you guys welcome me in your family. You guys, as you know, we make our house family house. And when you came over last week or a couple of weeks ago before you went there, you and I watched TV till about 3 in the morning. And yeah, but I just want not only from Alan to Dennis, and we're missing one, Ken. I don't know. Oh, okay. Okay, and Johnny, I just want to say to all you brothers, I will, like I told you before, almost 25 years ago, I'm gonna take care of this one. And thank you so much for letting me be a part of your family. I love you guys to the very end. All right, I love you. Thank you.
Hey, Mike, did you want to say anything?
I remember Troy Patriots, Kevin, I'm Michael Leonard, Troy Patriots, talk about fast, he was the fastest. And, yeah. And, I'm just very proud of you, Kev, we all love you, and, congratulations.
Oh, you sure? Okay, now you sure? Council members?
I could echo off of you. This guy right here, I had the privilege to work with him in the community. He's very humble. But besides the boxing, he's a legend to the community. You don't even know how many lives he saved through boxing and the commitment, and just he does it out of his heart. So I commend you for not only the boxing legend that you are, but the legend that you are to these kids in the community, that they really look up to you. And like I said, I will repeat it. Through your boxing experience and your life experience, you have changed many lives. And I hear it from young people that I deal with on a regular basis that you've been a life-changing role model to them. So I appreciate you for that.
Very well said. Frank, you want to say anything? All right, Councilmember Mann.
I was blessed when Kevin came into my life 16 years ago. He lived in a building that I bought when I was crazy lady, crazy lady. And nothing's changed. That's true. And Elijah was a little shorter. Hadn't started taking pictures quite yet. Hadn't started his own business yet. But I'm so blessed because I've been able to hear just all your stories about all the kids you work with. And I had no idea I had greatness just right here. And the greatness is really how much love you have, and you have touched so many people's lives with so much love, and it just spreads and it just comes back to us in waves. People come and, oh, Kevin, oh, you ran to Kevin, oh my God. And I'm like, let me tell you a Kevin story. And I'm just like, I am so blessed. We are blessed by the people that are near us. And I love every time I call you and I get the Troy Tiger.
Thank you, Emily. Councilmember.
Just had to do that. All right, I'm up there. Hey, listen, here's what I'll tell you. When I was a little kid living in South Troy, I was walking down Ferry Street one day and I seen the Pompey Boys coming up. And my buddy says, watch out for them. Somebody gave him some steak in the other side of the street, and I see this guy throw 2 quick punches, which I thought was one, but my buddy said, no, that was 3. And this kid just went down on the ground. So that was my experience with him as a kid and watching him and how fast he was. My second experience was that in Knickerbocker, you had a fight with some guy up there and you just, wow, I couldn't believe how fast you were, because it was like 8 years later, 10 years later, and you were just, wow, he's still fast. But what I really know about Kevin is all the stories I hear from the community. His boxing, he's great at. But you know what? He's great in his heart. He's great in his mind. And he shares that greatness with the community every day. He grabs our children and changes their mind and makes them better people. And for that, I'm very grateful for it. And I appreciate you so much, Kevin. Appreciate you so much, brother. More than you know, 'cause we don't really know each other, but I know about you.
Yeah, outside of all of you, we know of Kevin. Now we're getting the real Kevin, and we're getting to know, really, we knew you were special. We knew you were great, but you're even better than great and better than special. You are. Any other council members? Okay, couple quick things. All right, before you take off, I know you want to get out of here. I'm going to read on behalf of the City Council a proclamation. Whereas the Troy City Council would like to recognize Kevin Pompey and his accomplishments in boxing. And whereas Kevin is a proud Troy native. Woo! And whereas Kevin, Mr. Excitement, but not at home. No, I'm kidding. Pompey, the Troy Tiger, was inducted to the New York State Boxing Hall of Fame this year. Woo! 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 Troy Boy, Hall of Fame. And whereas he was recognized, are you ready for this? If only I had this. 32 wins, 3 draws, and 12 knockouts. Woo! And whereas Kevin was ranked as high as 4th in the International Boxing Federation. That's amazing. And here I didn't even know this. This is so cool. And whereas one of Kevin's most memorable matches, and this is what Jim was talking about, maybe, was televised on ESPN from the Knickerbocker Recreational Facility in where? Lansingburg. Yeah. All right. When he fought, who did he beat? Yeah. Who did he fight? Who did he fight? Do you remember? Anyone here? Remember? Buck Smith. Buck Smith. Yeah. In a welterweight title match and won. And whereas Kevin Pompey has deep roots in the Troy community. Woo. And whereas Kevin was a dedicated monitor in the Troy City School District for over 30 years until his recent retirement. And whereas Kevin has mentored many, many of our community's youth, and whereas Kevin, you're a role model in and out of the boxing community. And whereas the City Council is proud to recognize Kevin Pompey's accomplishments in boxing, but more importantly, with our youth and in our community. June 1st will always be remembered as Kevin Pompey. Now, real quick, Kevin Pompey and Kevin Pryor was there last week, and Karen Bobo and Jeff were there. But this was Kevin's quote that I did see online. This is Kevin. I used to get up every day at 4:30 a.m. to run and train because that's what it took. Training was hard at times, but I loved it and have fun boxing. I want to thank everybody here at the New York State Boxing Hall of Fame induction. Kevin, thank you for not only representing Troy, but paying it forward to our youth day in and day out, Kevin. Thank you. Thank you. All right. And Jim Gully told me I'm at a limit of 4 thank yous. I only had 2. So thank you. Thank you. Let's give it up for Kevin Pompey. Real quick, before we get a group photo, I want Rabbit Riley to get up here right now, mister. Come here. Come here. Come on, Rabbit. 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 Oh. Okay. Rabbit, we know you have a story. Okay, no stories. But before we get a group shot, I'm just going to ask Kevin to say a couple words. I know you don't want to, but if you don't mind, thank you.
Well, I never, when the pressure's on, nothing comes to my brain. Nothing comes to my brain. It's nothing, right? I'm trying to say something. I've tried to think of something nice to say, but nothing comes. It's like blank right now. I'm blank right now. Yeah, but yeah, you think so?
Yeah, I do. I do.
Okay.
all right, one thing to do, I appreciate everybody here, everybody here. And I didn't even know what this was, this was going. I knew I had to be down here. I was like, I was like, I was trying to find someone to ask, like, why am I going down there? What's going on down there? I mean, nobody would say anything to me like that. I said, that's all right, we'll show up. We're gonna show up. Like that, go down. Johnny, what's up? Yeah. So I had a great time, and people and when I talk to the kids in school and I say that, and to them like that, they're like, what? Taking punches? How's that a great time? Like, listen, if you train the way I train like that, and getting ready for the fight like that, so when you get to the fight, you didn't miss anything like that, you enjoy it more like that. But I remember some of the guys I talked to, some of the famous fighters, and they would always tell me, if you didn't prepare yourself like that, that'd be one of the worst days of your life. You will remember that day. You didn't do what you had to do. Get up in the morning and run. I got up, take the bus to Albany, run back to Troy, like that. And just go, just behind your house in the alleyway in the shadow box, like that. And I would just go home and just sit down. But the last thing you wanted to do is for yourself, just know you didn't do what you had to do to be the most, to be the person that you wanted to be there, like that. So that was the last thing I need. But let me stop. The last few years of my boxing career, they were really just people just are really out to get me. They're really out to get me. So like, yeah. So he just fought. Let's call him, see if he wanted to fight. Want to fight? Like, no, I just fought. Oh man, I just got back from Italy. Yeah, man, but we're ready to fight you. We're ready to fight you. I said, well, I'm not ready to fight him like that, So they like that. I said, oh man. So they started writing stuff in the paper like that. So like that, I said, oh, all right, yeah, give me a couple of weeks. Yeah, give me a couple of weeks.
You shot him in the ring.
Yeah. Ted, remember that, right? Yeah, Ted went with me a lot of boxing trips like that. He was my right hand man for a long time. And my boxing trips stuff like that. Yeah, Ted, thank you. Oh man, he's over here, bro. How you doing, man? Oh my goodness. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Yeah.
I want to thank your family and your friends for sharing you with us. And Kevin, tonight was, in my opinion, one of the best good news I've ever experienced. A lot of energy, a lot of love in this room, and a lot of respect. Respect is hard to get. You have it, Kevin Pompey. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you, and keep doing it. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Hold on, we're gonna get a huge group shot.
Right.
This is yours. This is yours. Thank you. Here, we'll give you don't want, we'll give that to Ken. He's a favorite. This is what you want. Okay, everybody get in, like, a lot of love here. Here. Go ahead. You're short. Yeah, like me. I have the old time. Yes. And Geneva Pompey Park.
That's
Geneva
right.
is your aunt. Yes. Yeah. Look out. June 1st, Kevin Pompey. Yay. Resolution. All right, what are we going to say on 3, Shane?
You excited on 3.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Kevin Pompey.
Nice meeting you. And you start being pollinated. That's why. Yeah, okay. That's why selling. Yeah. But damn. So I'm just hoping the game will get. Okay. Well, you got my number. That's my cell number.
All right. Okay, yeah.
This is the blue for the whole family.
Blue.
Oh, we need it, bro.
And that's how he is every day.
Yeah, it's too political. Men at work. Yeah. Yes. It is when you put it like that, it's. Yeah, no. Putting that name on it. Great.
I had many people ask me about a parade. Why doesn't the city do a parade? I said, the city doesn't do a parade. I said, committees do parades and the city helps them organizing it. So I got a group of people that said they're gonna, Ed DeGarian and those guys are gonna try to organize a committee to put together a parade. I said, you guys realize how much money and time it's gonna take you? I said, and the fact is, afterwards, you'll have hardly any attendance.
Oh, I'm not even
I
gonna
go,
be
people don't
here.
come out any. I go, why don't you just think of that and think about
That
your
was,
party?
we schedule a science and technology committee meeting. When are you gonna? When you can meet? So you're not gonna be here for the 15th? No.
Outside of things. If we can get-
Okay. They do like, it'll probably only be.
Out of August.
Our next month's meeting.
Preston.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yeah. Is there another day that works? Oh. Oh, okay. Together.
Well, my last year or two.
You can't put it on the next administration, right, Sue?
Yes, we can.
Ah,
Let me show
okay.
you some. See what's there here.
What's that? Well, you gotta unbook that cabin, girl. This is gonna be a big deal.
What? There's so much, it's still, there's always gonna be stuff, just crazy stuff.
Hey.
going on.
That was beautiful. Was it beautiful or was it beautiful?
Yeah.
He is a beautiful
Yeah.
person. And like you can tell, he's the real deal.
No.
He's,
He's always that way. It's like every time I talk to Kevin, I come back thinking the world's a better place. It's crazy. It's crazy how many just
oh yeah,
say.
gravitate,
say
like you
one
can tell. We'll just give it a couple of minutes, then I'll get rolling.
Just let's make sure we put it up before we get there, so we have a name.
His brother-in-law is a council member in Colony. He's one of the Gambles. I didn't
Yep.
connect. He's like, I'm one of the Gambles. I'm like, oh my gosh. All right, we're gonna get rolling. We really don't want to conduct business. Believe me, Kevin, we don't really want to conduct business now. Let's have a party. June 1st is Kevin Pompey Day. All right, we're gonna get rolling here. Maria, we're gonna open it up to the public forum. Would anyone like to speak on? Don't worry, we're just getting it started, John. All right, hold on, Frank. Seamus, you throwing around your name tag? Yeah.
So.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. All right, so we're going to open up the public forum and we have Frank Maven. I'm introducing you already with us. Frank,
Yep.
what would you like to speak on? Go.
Thanks. First, of course, thanks. That was amazing. Thanks for doing that. I grew up with him all my life. I'm 58 years old. I know him 57 years, 58 years. So that's like amazing. All right. So the first thing we want to do is just say from North Central, you guys know what we're doing. And so North Central, listen, that is a thing that we had and we're doing everything together. Like we're serious and that's what we're about. So we're trying to bring like all the districts together. And so we got another event coming. It's like a spinoff from the Juneteenth and the Flag Day Parade. So one of the big things we recognize, especially in the North Central area, is that Flag Day Parade was gone. Now that Flag Day Parade was huge. It was huge for a lot of reasons. I remember coming up from the flag, when the Flag Day Parade was in town, the parents would make sure the kids were clean and safe and have stuff to come down to the parade. There'd be like 160,000 people downtown Troy, and the build up for it, the preparation and all those big things, it just kept Troy so in sync, and everybody would look forward to this thing. So that a lot of harmony was a part of that Flag Day Parade. It was used, and I believe it was like the third or second largest in the country flag, or the largest in the country. So that's another reason why we're going to do that, because we want to bring that Flag Day Parade.
Yes.
We want to influence, right? That's what we want to do. And so what we've come up with is on the 16th, we're going to have Flag Day celebration, right? You have the flag that I put in front of you now. I just want to say this. Let's just please clear this up.
when this first, our first edition, see, Flag Day celebration and an early voting kickoff. Now listen, this is not a political thing. This is a party. I have a lot of voting coming down. I got to do something. We're gonna have a flag. We're gonna have a party. To party together, all the districts together, right? And so another thing, right? Let's also pay attention to this fact. When it comes to the next day, that's the 16th. The next day is the 17th. Starts. Okay. I know North Central is abysmal when it comes to voting. Our numbers just went away. So that's what North Central Community and Solidarity Group, that's what we're really going to work on. When we really get people to the page, right? And so we just put that on there just because I'm going to mention it in the bill as well. Let's get them there. We are going to the most. So that's the North Central Community's goal. And we're going to do that. We have to do it. That's why we're all of you there. I'm sorry. It's a fact. You come down to this party and you start that politics, no one. You. But you come and just have a good time, no one will forget you. So we can show you that we can do together. Please, don't try to discourage people from coming together. Don't do that. Listen, Troy. John, we must have so page 2. Good, thank you. So that band that you're going to see, we're just going to get a taste of them at this event down there, right? Down they're actually going to be in this building upstairs. I'm sure about the last Friday night. We'll have a chance to come in there and see them do what they do. This is a little bit very I don't know. Good times come on. That's what you that's what you get. That's what you get. And if you know, if you break a piece, it's something that you just want to have a good time. So for that. I know there's.
You're good.
Central now has, so when you're moving forward with something right now, right, it's kind of huge. It's called business plan for this. And it's called True Strong. Now this True is TROY, right? Which is going to be together revitalizing. If you look at the position, just bring them back in education and every area. That's what we're going to do. Change the culture of the streets by changing their minds, right? We got to get them in places, and this is the thing. Now we have probation, we have family care services, we have NAACP. We have get some funding on this thing. So show up there. You know, show up for what we're doing, show up for North Central, and let us know what we're doing. I'm telling you, God, this thing is getting hot. All right? The kids are going to be together. We already lost 12 years. Just a nonsense. You know what I mean? Because we're doing it together. We gotta, okay? And please don't make this no political thing. Okay? Tell the people something. I'm encouraging, right? I'm imploring you. This is very good. I'm going to this. I'm going to get right now. We're going to show you. If you want, if you like, no one's going to remember you. But you come back. Every time. No one's going to get you out.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Frank. We'll be there. Thank you, buddy. Yeah. I love him. I love him. All right. Yes. Anyone else? Would you like to speak on Sure, come on up, Robert. It's fine.
Good afternoon. My name is Robert Stallings. I've been a resident of Troy for the past 3 years. I'm a taxpaying citizen, also a voter. I didn't start being a taxpaying citizen or voter till I actually came to Troy and put my best foot forward because I didn't want to be employed.
Robert, will you speak right into that mic so it's
Oh.
easier to hear you?
I apologize.
Thank
So,
you.
once again, my name is Robert
Councilmember.
Stallings. I've been a resident of Troy for 3 years. I'm a taxpaying citizen, also a voter, and I became that since I set foot in Troy. I decided to put my best foot forward and actually take advantage of the opportunities that was out here. You know, it's easy to start a DBA LLC instead of clocking in. And, you know, I was trying to find a structure of supporting my family and, you know, kids and myself. And it wasn't quite working out with bills. Like I kept falling behind. So then I actually took what, you know, my education, what I actually got my certification in is counseling. And I'm a certified life coach and intervention specialist. So I decided to take my best foot forward and apply it to the community. And within that, we decided to bring forth trades and financial literacy to the youth and give intervention, violence intervention with state troopers and Troy PD. So our objective goal is to give people trades starting July 1st at 353 Troy, New York on 5th Avenue. And we just want everybody to be a part. You can donate, we self-funded. We do have a grant portal, but we believe being self-funded right now is to show that we really care. So we take our actual own money and we come out with Christmas gifts, turkeys. We haven't missed a year yet. You know, you look on our website, we're still building it, but we have success stories. People done gain employment. You know, we got people into domestic violence shelters. We deal with people with IEPs. IEPs is autism, ADHD, and things like that. You know, I've been tied to Sidewalk Warriors, Family Benevolence. I work here and there with Snug and also the FACE basketball tournament program. So, you know, I've been dealing with all these programs and none of them is like really outreach into the community and sourcing what these people need. So as you notice, the youth are high on opioids and methamphetamines and marijuana. Kid is not going to want to play sport. He's not. He doesn't have the win for it. He's not even conscious to listen to the coach or run a play. Right? Then after that, he's going to go hang out with his friends, drink, probably steal from the store because they don't got money because they dehydrated from running in the sun. You know, who knows? There's so many opportunities. But if we get these kids off the streets, right? And we give them a trade to say, hey, you fix a phone, you can make $100. Everybody on his block is going to go to him.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to make fast money. He's not going to run with his friends because he's going to be too busy. Say, I'm making too much money right here, you know, on my own and being a boss instead of risking my life with a friend to go steal out the store to feed my family. And, you know, people in the community would rather source to someone that they know or believe that, hey, this kid has a chance and that could change that kid's life. So it's putting hope back into the community. So we're all uplifting each other, actually. And I'm a little misworded because I'm a little nervous, but
You're awesome. You're
you
awesome.
know, I'm just speaking from the heart through experience, you know, and the streets are cold and lonely. It's hard to walk to the street. So I'd rather my kids to be safe, not only just partying and getting games, but he's getting an education and a trade at the same time.
Yep.
You know? So if he have any problems, ADD, autism, and it's all under the HIPAA law. So it's private, you know, it's safety, we have security. And I think this is what the community really needs.
Robert, this is awesome. I was just showing Councilmember Men and thank you so much. And it was so nice to meet you and Councilmember Conley Wilson, Councilmember Gully, you're on the committee and hopefully we can get some assistance to
Yes, thank
you to move forward.
Oh, and July 1st is our grand opening. So we just ask y'all all come.
July 1st?
Yes.
What
So
time?
We're going to open up 3 o'clock.
Okay,
So
cool.
from 3
Be there.
3 to 5, we'll be giving out free food,
Nice.
books, pencils, you know, book bags, normal arts and crafts, fate paints for the kids, you know, just
It's
to let the
awesome.
community know that we're there.
We'll be there.
Point of
Councilmember Conley Wilson.
Emily and Councilmember. Mann,
Oh,
Councilmember
I'm
Gully,
sorry.
that's
You're on the
ARPA
LTC. Yes,
committee for
sorry. Sorry.
Just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Inv-
ARPA
Economic
committee.
development.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you,
Councilmember-
Robert. Thank
Robert,
you.
Robert, before you leave,
Councilmember Men.
thank you, so sorry. Could you share what is your website so that if
Oh,
people that are
So
watching.
the
wanna
website
see-
would be www.guidelines. That would be GUIDELINES
Mhm.
and company COMPANYINC as in ink .org.
Awesome.
You can also just Google it and we'll pop up everywhere.
Robert, thank you for all you do. Welcome to Troy. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
investing in Troy, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
blessed
you.
day.
Thank you and your partners. Thank you.
Hi, guys. I wanted to make you aware, I attended the public services meeting last night.
John,
Yes,
last name. Sorry.
Kane.
Thank you.
I attended the subcommittee meeting last night. There was not an opportunity to make public comment. I did notice the chair of that meeting wanted you to support a bill from Senator Schumer. There is another bill that is perhaps more important for public safety in the city of Troy. Assembly Bill A 5200A, actually sponsored by John McDonald, is to allow for fentanyl and xylazine testing strips to be sold in pharmacies. These are really important harm reduction tools. I think most of you know about fentanyl. For those of you who don't know how dangerous fentanyl is, 2 milligrams of fentanyl is considered a fatal dose. 1 kilogram of fentanyl could kill twice as many people as Hiroshima. This stuff is everywhere. Xylazine is a brand new drug that's on the market. It does not respond to Narcan. It is not an opioid. It is being used as an additive in the drug supply. People are overdosing on it. It started in Philadelphia. It is now making its way to Albany. While, you know, people will react to fentanyl unless they've had too much, or they've used Narcan too much. Narcan simply doesn't work on xylazine. They have to go to the hospital. I was in Albany recently, and I actually happened to see, as I was walking by a gas station, a guy was out. They couldn't get him up. They called. It took about 10 minutes for emergency services to revive and get the guy Narcan. We don't have enough firefighters in the city of Troy right now. People need to know and understand that if someone overdoses, 10 minutes is a very long time for someone to not be breathing. You know, CPR is a little bit different if there's fentanyl, and that is something that you should perhaps discuss with the fire department or emergency services. You can't just give mouth to mouth. And I would also like to say that I'm not an expert in this. I just happen to have attended some Narcan training, and I know about this, and I know people who have overdosed, and this is something that I care about. You know, if you don't have enough emergency services to give Narcan, or if emergency services are taking longer, that really puts somebody's life in danger. There were 5 overdose deaths last weekend in Rensselaer County from cocaine that had been laced with fentanyl. You know, and at the end of the day, I don't even think that a lot of drug dealers know what product they are selling. It has become so adulterated. This is an important thing, and as these overdoses continue to happen, there is nowhere for people to take someone but the emergency room. We already have clogged emergency rooms. So these testing strips could be really essential. They cost about $1 a piece. And that does not seem like a lot, but if everybody grabs a handful of them and they stick them at home in their kitchen drawer, this gets very expensive very fast. This bill would allow them to be sold in pharmacies. Quite frankly, I think that they should either be given away or, you know, or sold in vending machines in the bathrooms of every bar. To be quite
Thank you,
honest,
John.
it's not a bad idea.
We'll
but-
take a look at the bill too.
Yes,
Thank you.
and I would recommend speaking to someone at Project Safe Point who can tell you more about harm reduction. They do public trainings all the time, and they are extremely useful.
Sounds good. Thank you, John.
Council
Thank you.
President.
Councilmember Gully.
I'd also like to point out that John had a conversation last night with the chief about possibly putting on a CPR and an educational class for
That's
these type
great
of situations, because listen, I've experienced it, okay? I've experienced it. Until you do, you'll be shocked. If you know what to do, it's a great thing, because it would have been helpful for me to know what to do for this individual. But I will tell you that I think it's education that we need, and I was glad that you brought that up. And I hope that at some point we give people opportunity to know what they're doing, because our guys are getting taxed running around trying to save everybody from their misfortunes with drugs.
Council President. Thank you, Councilmember Gully. Councilmember Conley Wilson.
Yeah, recently I actually was able to get Narcan trained, which was really important and great. And if anyone else on the council hasn't gotten that, it'd be
Yeah.
really good to do that. I also wanted to bring up, I know a while back we voted on accepting with the opioid
Settlement.
settlement. I don't think it's enough, but maybe we can, if we can figure out where we can spend that money, it would be really important to spend it on testing strips, on Narcan trainings, that's open to the community. Things like that can at least reduce our harm, and even think about different places that can, reduce those kinds of or preventative care. And I know like the needle exchange is not always the most popular idea, but it does save lives, and it is very important to have in our communities. And, I know Frank, I don't know if he's still here or not. It's always like, put in a different community. I welcome that in my community. I think it would be really helpful in certain areas of my district, at least. So just something to think about. And I just wanted to note for it.
And I'll second the settlement funds going to those causes. Thank you. Anyone else in the audience want to speak? I'm kind of combining the end and now since we opened it up, it's fine. Eric, hi.
How you doing tonight? I
Good.
think some of that money should go to the fire department, right? Because we deal with these things, right? Just for your information, those are labor intensive calls. Fentanyl takes 4 to 5 doses of Narcan to bring somebody back, and sometimes it only lasts 20 or 25 minutes, depending on how much they take. The normal heroin overdose is 1 to 2 doses. So it takes a lot more. It's a much more potent drug. So just the average person with a couple Narcans probably not going to make it work.
Thanks, Sarah.
I'm here on ordinance 32. Back at the budget process, there was a group of people on the council that proposed adding 2 people. The consensus was from the mayor and the chief that 2 wasn't going to do anything, and we needed 8. 8 puts another ambulance on duty, stops a engine or a ladder truck from jumping. Now we're proposing 4, and everybody's all behind 4. But again, it doesn't solve the problem. It's just adding 4 guys. It doesn't put another ambulance on duty. It doesn't put a fire truck on duty. The grant is for $3.6 million. There's another grant for $800,000 to pay for EMT and paramedic school. During negotiations, and Andy can verify this if he wants, but there's 113 positions budgeted every year in case we hire people, right? We're going to replace 14 of those positions with grant money. Where's that salary that's budgeted? Where is that going? Right? It's $1.2 million. Why aren't we reinvesting that into the fire department, into the manpower, and staffing the vehicles the way we should be staffed, so we have an appropriate amount of staffing? It's there. It's right there. $1.2 million is going to pay for 14 salaries that are already budgeted for $1.2 million. And if we hire some of these people off the list, the paramedics and EMTs, that cuts into the other $800,000 that we don't have to spend there, that we would be budgeted for, right? It frees up money. So at the end of the day, we need 8 people. We thank you for the 4. Had we taken the 2, we'd have 6. We need 8. I've spoken many times. I spoke here last night. Right calls are up 134% in 26 years. Everything has changed. Was questioned last night. They went to the area. They saved some calls. There was really 1 person that's left there. That was a couple hundred calls. So we checked the numbers today. At this point last year, we're at 5,533 calls. This year, we're at 5,368 calls. That's 165 calls less than last year, but we eliminated over 200 calls at the LA. So we're really on the same pace. Nothing's changing. Yesterday, we had multiple calls for fires. We didn't have enough people to respond on the alarms, which makes that dangerous. I spoke last night about the sitting at the hospital. That total call was almost 3 hours. The guy said, this can't continue on. I just don't, we need guys. That's the facts. There's money there in the staffing because we have a grant. We're going to spend that grant, 1.2 million. That frees up 1.2 million. That should be reinvested in the fire department and into the general fund. Any questions on that?
It's a good point, Eric.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna keep it basic. You've heard all my other
I hear.
things and messages and whatnot. I even spoke last week at the planning meeting because those people aren't planning for public safety. They need to address that issue with all the other issues they address. Parking, handicap ramps, parking spots, space for tree shrubs. They need to address the floor volume that projects create. But we need 8 guys. We appreciate the 4. We appreciate the 2. We need 8 guys. The man, the chief said that. The chief said last night, multiple times, that we're busy. We don't have enough staff. I don't know. I hope nothing happens because those comments will not be good if something bad happens, but we need 8 guys. If you can find the money for 8 guys with this grant and the salaries that it replaces, the money's there. It just has to be reinvested in the department.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
Thank you. Andy, when we get to 32, I'm just going to ask you to get into that. Okay. All right. Would anyone else like to speak on any item on the agenda or speak in general? And you're not allowed, Dan. I'm kidding. All right, let's get to ordinance 30.
So we have to do Reso 49.
I forgot my cheat sheet. Yes, thank you. Resolution 49, we're going to jump around. We have to do a seeker and a couple other things prior. Thank you. So before we go to 30, we're going to do resolution 49, resolution 50, and then ordinance 30. So let's do resolution 49, Maria.
Resolution 49, resolution determining that proposed action is a type 2 action for purpose of the New York State Environment Quality Review Act. Council President Mantello, at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion? Motion, Councilmember Conley Wilson. For anyone watching, we did thoroughly discuss many of the items tonight at the finance 2 weeks ago. We have a motion, Councilmember Conley Wilson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Min. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 noes. Resolution 49 passes.
Resolution 50.
Resolution 50, bond resolution of the city of Troy, New York, authorizing the issuance of $6.259 million serial bonds to finance the reconstruction of various streets in the city. Council President Mantello, at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion? Motion, Councilmember Gully. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Conley Wilson. I would like to ask, along with Councilmember Soriento, we talked about this earlier. We would like, Chip had provided, but it was months ago, a list of the paving projects. An approximate timetable. We'd like that. We'd like what's been done, what's been added, and an updated one. Thank you. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 noes. Resolution 50 passes.
We're going to jump back to ordinance 30.
Ordinance 30. Ordinance amending the 2023 Capital Projects Fund budget. Capital President Mantello, at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Motion, Councilmember Steele. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Min. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 noes. Ordinance 30 passes.
Okay, block 2, we're going to do resolution 51, then ordinance 43, then ordinance 31. Take it away, Maria. Resolution 51.
Ordinance 51, resolution.
No. Resolution. 50.
I'm sorry, resolution
okay.
51, resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a contract amendment with Lobello Associates for the design of the Lansingburg Riverfront Park and Trail Extension. Council President Mantello, at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion? Motion, Councilmember Conley Wilson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Steele. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 noes. Resolution 51 passes.
Ordinance 43. This is where we're accepting.
Ordinance 43, ordinance is accepting donation from Clark Trading Corporation to support design of the Troy River Walk Trail and authorizing the mayor to enter into a memorandum of understanding for payment of the donation. Council President Mantella at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Councilmember Steele. Is there a second? Second, Councilmember Gully. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos. Ordinance 43 passes.
Ordinance 31.
Ordinance 31. Ordinance amending the 2023 miscellaneous special revenue fund budget. Council President Mantella at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Councilmember Steele. Is there a second? Second, Councilmember Men. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos. Ordinance 31 passes.
Ordinance 32.
Ordinance 32, ordinance amending the 2023 miscellaneous special revenue fund budget to accept funds from the United States Department of Homeland Security for the purpose of staffing for adequate fire and emergency response. Council President Mantella, at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion. We'll give it to Councilmember Soriento. Is there a second? Second, Councilmember Steele. Discussion? Andy, thank you. You're hoping I missed that, aren't you? No, I'm kidding. How are you? It's good to see you. Thank you for hanging out. Pretty cool with Kevin Pompey, wasn't it?
It was.
It was awesome.
So I'm assuming you want me to speak to.
Yeah, so I apologize. So the 1.2 mil, is that going into the general fund? Is Eric accurate? And potentially, obviously, if we could squeeze 2 out of that, it would make sense. So actually it's 4 now because I'm thinking our 2 passed, but they didn't. So 4. So just talk to me. Is the 1.2, is that an accurate number? Is it going back into the general fund? And what was the decision to not reinvest back into the fire department?
So the 1.2 million, I would need to verify.
Okay.
I will say that when it is said by anyone, if money is going back into the general fund, I would take that to be, you are budgeting for a surplus, at which point I would say, no, we do not budget for a surplus.
Right.
Revenues match expenditure.
Yeah.
As we discussed at the public safety meeting earlier this year, I was tasked by the mayor, the deputy mayor, to see if there was a way to put more firefighters into the budget. There was only 2 ways to do it: override the tax cap or cut services. Those were the only 2 ways to do it. And that's all I can say to that. I mean, we
Okay.
are not budgeting for I want to make that very clear. We are not budgeting for a surplus. We wouldn't propose a budget
Right.
with a tax increase. We've never done that here.
I get all that, but this ordinance, if you could verify the 1.2 and where that
So
money.
we budgeted salary savings for the firefighters that were in the grant, for the number of vacancies that existed at that time. If I
So
recall
6
correctly,
months, which because.
it would have been the grants, I believe, effective March.
Thank you, Eric. Sorry, Andy. Go ahead. Yep,
I lost my train of thought.
it's
because
okay.
the-
You were saying, the savings that, and you have
The salary
mentioned
savings
March.
was budget for revenues
Right.
match expenditures. I can't keep saying this enough. I said it, I think it was in February or March. I came in, this is not meant to be a pity party statement. I
know.
came in on a Saturday to try and get the firefighters in the budget. It was a tax cap override or cut services. The decision was made not to put them in. That's what I can say to it.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want to rehash the whole budget conversation. There's rising costs everywhere. If they can be fit in this year, that's not my decision to make. Like, that's not my decision to make, to put them in this year, an
Okay.
additional 4.
On this grant, if you could at least get back to us, shoot us an email, whatever. Is it 1.2 first? And is that 1.2 going into the general fund? And
So the grant is in the miscellaneous special revenue fund, as you will see in the Schedule A
Yeah.
in this ordinance. It is
Yep.
not at all in the general fund.
right. So that whole 3.6, I think is and change, And then the 800, or is that
The
separate?
$800,000 AFG grant is in the miscellaneous special revenue fund.
Okay,
It is used to offset
Right.
overtime for when new firefighters go to paramedic school. That is the use of that grant.
okay. All right, if you could break out the grant for us, that would be helpful. Okay, thank you. Thanks. Andy. Did anyone else have questions for Andy or comments? Okay, all right, thanks, Andy. Okay, we have a motion, we have a second, further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos. Ordinance 32 passes.
Ordinance 33.
Ordinance 33, ordinance authorizing the creation of a capital project and amending the 2023 capital projects fund budget to accept funds from the Dormitory Authority State of New York for the purpose of the construction of the Little Italy Marketplace and Piazza. Council President Mantel at the request of Administrator.
Is there a motion? So moved. Yep. Motion, Councilmember Conley Wilson. Is there a second? Second, Councilmember Gully. All I'll say is booyah. Okay, really excited.
Keep the stickball square.
Further discussion? Yep. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos. Ordinance 33 passes.
Ordinance 34.
Ordinance 34, ordinance declaring certain city-owned personal property as surplus and directing the office of the city comptroller to sell or dispose of the surplus property. Council President Mantello at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Motion, Councilmember Steele. Is there a second? Second, Councilmember Conley Wilson. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos. Ordinance 34 passes.
Ordinance 35.
Ordinance 35, ordinance amending the 2023 capital projects fund budget to accept funds from the Dormitory Authority State of New York for the purpose of the renovation of the South Troy Pool and Bathhouse. Council President Mantel at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion? Motion, Councilmember Gully. Is there a second? Second, Councilmember Steele. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos. Ordinance 35 passes.
Ordinance 36.
Ordinance 36, ordinance amending the 2023 miscellaneous special revenue fund budget to accept funds from the Division of Criminal Justice Services for the purpose of gun-involved violence elimination. Council President Menzel at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion? Motion, Councilmember Steele. Is there a second? Second, Councilmember Men. Discussion? Yes, Councilmember Conley Wilson.
I just want to note, like, over this weekend, there were a lot of shootings that happened across the country. I think there was one in Syracuse where 4 were injured. And I just think that as a country, I know we can only do so much as a council. We really just need to rethink how we're addressing this, because clearly it's not working. So, happy that we have this opportunity to, try and address some of this. And like we said in our previous discussion about this doesn't really address a lot of the root issues, but I just wanted to note that. And, I don't know if we can figure out something we can do in Troy, but, something needs to happen.
I think we, heard a lot tonight, youth services and just trying to get our youth off the street. But I do know that this particular grant puts extra men and women in blue on the streets, which has been invaluable. Increasing that patrol manning. So further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos. Ordinance 36 passes.
Ordinance 37.
Ordinance 37.
Oh, the title of this is not correct. Right. Yeah, we amended it.
Sorry, probably.
That's okay. It's all right, Maria.
I apologize for
That's
this.
okay.
Ordinance amending the 2020 general fund,
Just take out and garbage.
miscellaneous special revenue fund, special grants fund, and capital projects fund. I think that's all.
Okay. Got that, Maria?
Well, just take out garbage fund, you said, right?
No,
I'll
it's
email-
adding.
I'll email.
Yeah, Andy will email it. So we need to amend that again. So I'll make a motion to amend to add what Andy stated. Is there a second? Second, Councilmember Conley Wilson, discussion on the amendment. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And on the amended ordinance, 37, is there a motion? Motion, Councilmember Steele, is there a second? Second, Councilmember Conley Wilson, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Go ahead, sorry. Maria.
7 ayes, 0 nos, ordinance 37 passes.
On that note, Andy, if you could ask the deputy mayor and mayor, I did ask how the donations from the Troy Redevelopment Foundation, how those projects are chosen. If they could get back to me on that, that would be helpful. Thank you. Ordinance 38.
Ordinance 38, ordinance amending the 2023 capital projects fund budget. Council President Mantello at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Councilmember Steele. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Soriento. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos, ordinance 38 passes.
Ordinance 39.
Ordinance 39, ordinance authorizing the city comptroller to deduct monies from the general fund, unassigned fund balance, and amending the general fund to appropriate such monies. Council President Mantello at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Councilmember Steele. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Men. I just want to say kudos to Andy and his team. This is just a huge step forward, paying off these loans, getting it off the books. Great job. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos, ordinance 39 passes.
Ordinance 40.
Ordinance 40, ordinance authorizing sales of certain city-owned parcels of real property by the proposal sale application method. Council President Mantello at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Councilmember Steele. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Soriento. Discussion. I did have a quick question. You might be able to answer it, Councilmember Gully. Someone contacted me, and I forget who, last week, and they said that a property, maybe Ridge Road, has been pulled twice. Are you aware of that? Did you? Great. Thank you, Andy. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy.
It just popped in my head.
That property has other legal proceedings attached to it that keep coming on and off. So we are required to remove that from the list.
Gotcha. Thank you. And I'm sure I have an email somewhere. Thank you, Andy. Further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos, ordinance 40 passes.
Ordinance 41.
Ordinance 41, ordinance authorizing the city clerk to issue one-day marriage officiant licenses. Council President Mantello at the request of the administration.
I do. Is there a motion? A little levity. Come
Now
on.
it is what makes me make this motion.
Is there a motion? Councilmember Men. Is there a second? Councilmember Steele. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
0 ayes, 7 no. 7
7
ayes, 0 nos. Ordinance 41 passes.
Ordinance 42.
Ordinance 42, ordinance releasing utility easement and rejecting dedication of utility systems located on private land in the city of Troy at or near 85 Farrell Road Extension. Council President Mantello at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Councilmember Steele. Is there a second? Second, Councilmember Conley Wilson. Nobody wanted to second that one. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos, ordinance 42 passes.
Ordinance 44.
Ordinance 44, ordinance authorizing the reconveyance of real property acquired by in rem foreclosures, 258 Stowe Ave. Council President Mantello at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Councilmember Steele. I apologize. We were talking about Eric made a comment about the water at the finance meeting, and Councilmember Gully did get an answer on that, so we'll group after, okay? Unless you want to share.
I was just told that they are gonna hook up to the main line, so I don't know what that means moving forward, but,
Hmm.
oh, at the other end, of Oakwood?
One at 20, where is that, 205 Oakwood Ave, where the line ends there, and the other end is at Pearl Road. There's no water line in between that.
Okay, Jim's on, and Councilmember Gully's on this one. Thank you.
All right, I asked the wrong question, I'll be honest, so now I'll ask the right question.
All right, cool. We have a motion and second for ordinance 44, correct, Marie?
Only a motion.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Gully, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 no's. Ordinance 44 passes.
Ordinance 45, which was
Ordinance-
just added.
Ordinance 45, ordinance authorizing additional award of neighborhood improvement project funds. Council President Mantello
And Councilmember C.
and Councilmember Steele.
Is there a motion? Motion, Councilmember Conley Wilson. Is there a second? Second, Councilmember Gully. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 no's. Ordinance 45 passes.
Ordinance 46.
Ordinance 46, an ordinance adding chapter 140 entitled Blasting, Rock Chipping, and Use of Explosives to the Code of the City of Troy to regulate such activities in the city. Council President Mantello.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Councilmember Gully. Is there a second? Second, Councilmember Soriento. Discussion.
Council President?
Yes, Councilmember Steele.
I think it's great that we look to establish some rules and regulations. I just think in the future, something like this, of this magnitude, should really go to committee and should be reviewed by our engineering department. I'm not terribly comfortable weighing in on these particular matters. I mean, we're fortunate tonight to have the developer here who is familiar with it, but I really think in the future, we ought to allow more time for study and discussion.
Yeah.
And I really would appreciate having an engineering opinion going forward. And I know it's been said, but I hope that we will not be holding up the project. I've been talking to a lot of the residents there and they want, well, they're,
Yeah.
I wasn't in on that meeting, but I've been seeing a lot of the neighbors
Yeah.
and
It's
a
a
tough situation.
controversial project.
I think
and-
at this point, we need to move forward with
yeah.
that permit.
Yep. And this will not delay that permit. It gives us security. It gives more, security to the residents that are going to be impacted. I did send it, to Carlo. Like I said, it did come together quickly. And for me, after researching, and then I saw the Greenberg in a couple municipalities, I sent it to, Rick immediately, but it did happen quickly. I must tell you, normally I would like to vet this and, even have a public hearing, et cetera, but I felt it was timely, looking to at least give that neighborhood a little, just added security and added protection. I think that this offers this. I did ask Carlo when he did look at it. I mean, he is a PE, even though he's our building inspector, and we don't have anyone else right now in City Hall as a PE. And we are contracting out, obviously, as you know, with the on-call engineering firm. So Carlo did weigh in on this. He gave comments and, I asked him point blank, this is not going to hold up the project. And Carlo said, no. He said a lot of the things that the developer is required to do is in this. So for me, it was more, let's get something in writing. Let's get some guidelines. Rick amended some sections, which I think made sense. And as Rick stated, we potentially may need to amend this down the road, but for this particular project, I think it gives the residents, one of the residents was circulating it to the neighborhood. And is this going to stop the project now? But is it going to give them some protection and at least, some guidelines that they feel should be on the record, like I feel, when someone is blasting or rock chipping. And, so I think it's important. And certainly, my intent here is not to hold up the project. So we'll ask Carlo to keep us posted as he moves forward in Rick. Okay. We'll take a slow roll again. Councilmember Gully.
Yes.
Councilmember Figueroa. Councilmember Steele.
Aye.
Councilmember Men.
Yes.
Councilmember Conley Wilson.
Aye.
Councilmember Soriento.
Yes.
Council President Mantello. I vote aye, and I thank all of you for working with me, and we'll see how this moves forward.
7 ayes, 0 noes, ordinance 46 passes.
Thank you. Resolution 52.
Resolution 52, resolution of the Troy City Council authorizing the mayor to enter into a license and administrative funding agreement with the Troy Industrial Development Authority for 2023. Council President Mantello at the request of administration.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Councilmember Gully. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Steele. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 noes. Resolution 52 passes.
Resolution 53.
Resolution 53, resolution of the city of Troy, of the Troy City Council recognizing Juneteenth. Resolution of the Troy City Council recognizing Juneteenth. Councilmember Steele, Council President Mantello, Councilmember Conley Wilson, Councilmember Men, Councilmember Figueroa, Councilmember Soriento, Councilmember Gully.
Councilmember Steele. Would you like to read it or say anything? It's up to you.
I just want to commend, I think, did you put this together?
No, you did Juneteenth,
Well,
Councilmember.
I thought last year. Okay,
Oh.
no. I don't know that we need to read it.
Yeah.
We've adopted it in the past. But it is certainly a very significant date in our history. And I'm so grateful that we've now, it's included, at least in some history books, and that's being celebrated more thoroughly throughout the country. It certainly deserves recognition.
Well said, and hopefully we can get our clerk's office and the UPSU to recognize this holiday as it is recognized in the state, federal government. All the unions have obviously this day off, but our clerk's office doesn't. We're trying to rectify that. Rick is helping us, so hopefully we'll get that rectified, right, Maria? I'm sorry?
June 19th.
Juneteenth. You don't get it. Okay, I know CSEA does. You're not, listen, you're outside of City Hall, mister, on the right there. Okay, and Councilmember Conley Wilson, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I mean, this is just an important part of my history and so many other Black Americans. And it's great that we have another holiday that's celebrated and recognizes where we've come and where we're going. And, you know, I think it makes sense to let folks have this day off because it is very important to celebrate. So,
In this year, you know, last year there was a picnic and there was maybe another event. This year, there's a whole weekend and the NAACP has a number of events and a father-daughter dance that's Saturday night, I think. So it is a weekend celebration now here in Troy, and the NAACP and folks have done a phenomenal job recognizing this important day. We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 noes. Resolution 53 passes.
Resolution 54.
Resolution 54, resolution of the Troy City Council recognizing Pride Month. Councilmember Steele, Council President Mantello, Councilmember Gully, Councilmember Conley Wilson, Councilmember Figueroa, Councilmember Men, Councilmember Soriento.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Councilmember Gully. Is there a second? Second, Councilmember Soriento. Councilmember Conley Wilson.
I'm not going to read this whole thing because we've read it before. I want to just reiterate some LGBTQA plus folks of note. Marsha P. Johnson, she started the Stonewall Riot, was active at the Stonewall Riots and provided a lot of resources for the community. James Baldwin, which you may not know, was a gay Black writer of international acclaim. Judith Butler, non-binary philosopher who has revolutionized the gender studies, and Harvey Milk, the first openly gay elected official. I also want to note that the city of Troy actually has a whole webpage now dedicated to all of the events that are happening in the city and in the region, all of the different resources and like mental health resources around the region that can help and support LGBTQA folks, trans folks, and other folks in this spectrum have a much higher risk of death and suicide and mental health issues because of the oppression that they face. And right now is a really charged space in our country around these rights, around these resources, around the medical care that they receive that is life-changing. So it's really cool that our city is recognizing this. I'm really grateful that the administration has been able to put some resources into recognizing this. And I know that there's a flag raising, I think that Tuesday next week,
Yes.
the 10th. And then there's also Albany has their Pride Parade. I would love to someday have our own Troy Pride Parade. But in the meantime, I know that we have the Flags Day, which represents, not just one flag, the American flag, but all the flags in the country, because we're a country made up of immigrants. So I'm sure we all have different flags that we raise around the council table here. But, that is
June 11th.
June 11th. I think it's from 2:30 to 4:30 or 2 to 4. So that's a really great tradition that's happened over the years. I don't remember what anniversary they're on now, but it's been a really great, gathering of creatives, artists, folks that are the backbone of the culture of Troy. So just wanted to note those, and I'm super grateful to have this opportunity to show my part of my identity to the city, and it's great that we're able to support this.
Thank you, Councilmember Conley Wilson, and thank you for spearheading this effort. And you worked really hard last year on the resolution. It's an awesome resolution, but more importantly, many of the words you stated. And I also want to recognize that Seamus is on a committee working on many of the events that you mentioned that weekend, and it is going to be a huge weekend here in Troy. And, the first time like Troy has really, really embraced, Pride weekend, and it's going to be a great weekend. So thank you, Seamus. Thank you, Councilmember Conley Wilson. Thank you. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 no's. Resolution 54 passes.
Resolution 55. This is a new one. I also am not going to read it. I think it's very self-explanatory, and that is, go for it, Maria. Resolution 55.
Resolution to declare June 4th, 2023 as Cancer Survivors Day in the city of Troy. Council President Mantello, Councilmember Steele, Councilmember Gully, Councilmember Figueroa, Councilmember Soriento, Councilmember Conley Wilson, Councilmember.
And, just very briefly, I think I am taking a guess, probably every one of us have maybe a family member, a friend, a relative, an acquaintance that, maybe didn't survive cancer, and maybe some of us have acquaintances and friends and relatives that have survived. And my personal story, very quickly, my mom during COVID was diagnosed with cancer, and she fell, hurt her back, and fast forward, they found cancer. So saying that was 2.5 years ago. She's a survivor. She is doing amazing, and she's so strong. And just in the past couple of weeks, somebody else was diagnosed, and my prayers go to her and her family. So saying that, it's a very special day, I think, for many of us and me personally. And I just applaud all the folks who just deal with this day to day, and it's just a horrible disease. So on Sunday, June 4th, it is Cancer Survivors Day, and this we will recognize in the city of Troy. Further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
We didn't get a motion or.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is there a motion? Motion, Councilmember Sorrento, is there a second? And I think Councilmember Conley Wilson beat you. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I did have them.
Yeah, I thought we did. Thank you.
No, I just.
Okay. Motion, Councilmember Conley Wilson, second, Councilmember Sorrento, third, Councilmember Gully, fourth, Councilmember Seal. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 no's, resolution 55 passes.
Resolution 50.
Resolution 56, resolution appointing a commissioner of deeds for the city of Troy, Council President Mantello.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Councilmember Gully. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Men. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 no's, resolution 56 passes.
Resolution 57.
Resolution 57, resolution authorizing mayor to execute a real estate brokerage and an agency agreement with Pure Realty Incorporated for the marketing and sale of various parcels of surplus real property owned by the city. Council President Mantello, at the request of administration.
Is there a motion? Motion, Councilmember Sorrento. Is there a second? Second, Councilmember Ben and Councilmember Gully. I just want to say I have the utmost respect for Pure Realty. I was very pleased to see them win this proposal. Further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Do not leave. We have resolution. Sorry.
7 ayes, 0 no's, resolution 57 passes.
We have one more resolution 58.
Resolution 58, resolution supporting Senator Schumer's call for increase in the Medicare wage index for Capital Region hospitals.
Is there a motion? Motion, Councilmember Conley Wilson. Is there a second? Second, Councilmember Men. Discussion. Thank you, Councilmember Steele, for working on this.
Well, it's my pleasure. And we really hope that we're successful or that the senator is successful in convincing that this change takes place. It would rectify an inequity that hopefully would help our hospitals and perhaps also help in the emergency room wait time issue as well. So it's an outgrowth of our public safety meeting last night, but it's certainly would be a tremendous benefit to our region.
And I say ditto. Thank you. Further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 no's, resolution 58 passes.
And
Motion.
we'll open it up. Last public forum. Would anyone like to say anything to the council that would be nice? I'm kidding. Anything you'd like to bring to the council? All right, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Motion, everybody. Is there a second? Second. Enjoy June. First day of June. Bring it on summer.
Yeah.
All in favor?